Pacific Drive, originally released in 2024. I've had this in my wish list for, well, since it came out, because I thought it looked really interesting. It is a double A game, it's not a triple A game, and for what a small dev team they have, they've really worked some magic. And I was struggling to even how to start this review because it's such a complex game. The footage you're seeing in the background now is how the game starts. You start off in an average car. There's not really much explanation of what's going on. It teaches you the basics. It's actually kind of a fast car compared to the shit box you get, and then it all kind of goes tits up from there. Now, I'd be lying if I said I knew what the hell I was doing when I first started this game. Some of the footage you're seeing right now at the start of the review is really early on. The game does do a good job at telling you what to do, but fuck me, is it complicated. There's anomalies, there's things you have to worry about. Your car can get an infection, literally like carry it through. You can die, the car can die, you can get stranded, you could end up in a situation where you have no scrap and repair, and the amount of things in this game is kind of nuts. I'll try and explain the basic gameplay as we go along. The car you're seeing now is the kind of like station wagon you get at the beginning, and you're just a random person. I don't really know who you are because you don't have a voice. All you have is other scientists. Maybe you are a scientist, I don't know. I'm 15 hours in, and my shitbox is now a slightly better shitbox, but it's still it's a lot better than what it is now. It looks a lot more like it's from Mad Max with a chain steering wheel and a better gear shifter. Well, not that it has a gear shifter, because Yanks don't really drive manual cars. Everything's automatic, so it's just park or drive. But trying to explain even the basics of this is why I was struggling to even come up with how to start off this review. So you're thrown into the mist, the anomaly, the zone. They just call it the zone, the Olympic zone. I'm not really sure why it's called the Olympic zone. I guess they just I have no idea, but it's called the Olympic zone. And every time you go on a journey, you have to get back to the garage, and that's if you get back alive, because there are anomalies, there are things you have to scan, things you have to learn about. There's crafting, there's so much crafting, and there's so much looting. If you're not someone that's into looting and picking up materials and upgrading things, and kind of a slower paced gameplay, it does get a bit panicky when you have to exit through a gateway, but I'll explain a bit more about that later. So long story short, by this really arsey scientist, her voice at the beginning is really patronising and annoying. And this is, again, early on. Soon I'll skip to what my vehicle looks like towards the end, because now it does look a bit better and it has a lot more storage and stuff and space. And I didn't realise little things like if you search a boot instead of destroying it, you'll break everything inside it. There's so many tools you need to get. The story, as you progress through the story, you'll unlock better upgrades for the vehicle, better upgrades for the garage. There's so many upgrades that when you first look at the computer, I kind of just sat there dumbfounded staring at it like a retard, because I was like, what the fuck do I do? What's going on? What's happening? What's this? What's that? Even though it kind of explains it, in another sense, it doesn't. It kind of just goes, off you go, dickhead, have fun. And I was like, what? So I just took the car out and went for a spin and ended up in some random ass zone. And as time goes on, you'll need better tyres. So you'll start off with spare tyres, summer tyres, which are good for the road. I've now upgraded to off-road tyres, and you'll find in certain loot locations a special tyre. So I've got one tyre that's a super duper off-road tyre, and the other three are just normal off-road tyres. And then you could get lead line door panels. You can get anti-electric door panels, because there'll be electric anomalies, there'll be ground anomalies, there'll be stuff that comes down from the sky. There's giant magnets that pick you up and just fucking lob you over the hill somewhere. There's special abilities. Eventually, the first ability I got was handbrake, and that counted as a special ability, not just brake but handbrake, because you've got these giant magnets that just pick you up, fuck you off over the hill somewhere. And then your car's like sliding down a mountain. You can reset it by clicking in the two analog sticks, and I am playing it on a controller because just driving with a mouse and keyboard to me just doesn't feel right. There's something off. Any game, if it's a fighting game or driving game, I use a controller. Obviously, if it's a first-person shooter, I'd use a mousey keyboard. But I found myself getting really addicted. I'm 15 hours in, and I still feel like I've barely made any progress. So the main goal you're seeing me driving to now, you have to pick up these energy orbs that not only damage you, they cause radiation, so you have to eat food, use med packs, you know, yada yada yada. And then once you have enough energy, you open a gateway and you drive through the giant portal you see in the background, and then skadoosh, although I managed to ram into a rock like an absolute bellend. But if you don't hit a rock, you'll go into the the big pillar of light and appear back at the garage, which is where you do your repairs and whatnot, and eventually you'll unlock machines, and it will all click together after a while. Trying to explain every individual thing because it's not a guide, I'm just trying to get a quick review out. If I tried to explain every mechanic, the video would be like 25 minutes long. No one's going to sit here listening to my voice for 25 minutes long. I don't want to sit here for 15 minutes talking about it. But it is a good game. It's a great game. For £8 in a sale, it's 100% worth it. There's no actual combat in the normal sense. There's things you have to destroy, anomalies you have to hit with a hammer or a crowbar or a scrapper, which is just like a big deconstructing sort of like drill thing. There's certain locks you'll need to break with a crowbar. There's keypads you'll need to learn. The stuff you're seeing in the background now is all the different additions, and that's how you charge your battery as well. So the battery could go flat, your tires can go flat. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong in this game. You can now see the car in the background is absolutely shagged after I took it on a road trip, and each road trip will get longer and harder, and you'll need bigger fuel tanks, better engine, better tires. I upgraded to steel panels. I quite like steel and the off-road tires. Eventually you'll even have a machine where you can leave your parts in, and when you next come back they'll be repaired, so you don't have to keep wasting materials. The thing you see me use in the background now is a dumpster that it's called a friendly dumpster. I have no idea why. It's just a friendly dumpster. It gives you free scrap and metal and plastic and duct tape and all the bits and bobs you need. And in the back of the car now you can see there's just an absolute ton of loot, and this is before I realised I could click one button and move everything over instantly. I was like an idiot pressing A, you know, to move everything over manually before I realised, oh, I can just click in the stick and it moves over all my parts. But as you can see, there are a billion combinations of pieces you need, and it will be overwhelming at first, but I definitely recommend you stick with it. And I'll show you the finished product of my vehicle as it is now. I am planning on playing this, you know, further on, not just 15 hours for the review, but I felt like I had to play at least over 10 hours of this, because otherwise it's just not really doing it justice. Also, I can't really play it because I'll get copyright, you know, raped. But I don't know if I can say that. Screw it, I'm leaving it. I'll get copyright striked, nuked, or whatever. But the music is really good. It has a jukebox, and it plays like old 60s, 70s, sort of, I think it's between the 60s and 70s sort of tunes, because the actual zone opened up, I believe, in the late 60s in this alternate universe. But as far as story goes, I still don't know myself. I'm still collecting pieces and learning from the scientists. But yeah, that specific drive in a nutshell, if I tried to go into too much detail, it would just go on forever. But I'll show you the final result of my vehicle, and wapow! That is my, well, it's still a shitbox, but it's an upgraded shitbox, and it's got flames on it, so it's got go faster stripes. And everybody knows if you put go faster stripes on the car will go faster. But it's definitely worth it. If you can get this in a sale for £8 like I did, 100% worth it. Pacific Drive, brilliant game, £8, definitely worth a shot. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I'm trying to keep this review short because otherwise it'll go on forever. See ya!